Hello everyone. It has been a while since I have done a video. There's been a lot going on in my life lately, and hopefully I'll be able to share some of that with you shortly. Moderately exciting, moderately just stressful and awful. But hopefully I'll be able to share some of it with you soon. But I don't want to spoil it for you. I want to give you all a nice surprise and get you to enjoy it as it's happening. So stay tuned for that. There's been a lot going on, so I have not filmed any videos recently. I believe the last video I filmed and released was actually my May TBR, and now we are moving on to what I am calling my winter TBR, where I am doing a 3-month seasonal TBR instead of the monthly ones. So I really love doing these pulling out a prompt, picking a book sort of things, but I am kind of feeling like I don't get a chance to read the books that I just want to read because I want to read them. I was thinking about it, and I just don't read enough books in a month to be able to do a pull some things from a jar and then also just a few random free picks. I don't read enough books in a month. I read 4 to 6 books every month, and I don't want to do less than like 4 prompts that I'm pulling out of the jar. That just feels kind of pointless. So instead, we're going to do a seasonal one. I'm going to pick 8 prompts out of my prompt jar, and then I am going to pick. What did I end up deciding? 3, 4 to 6, 12. So I'm going to pick 8 prompts out of my TBR jar, and then I'm going to pick between 4 and 8 free picks for myself, depending on what comes out of my prompt jar, what books I actually want to read extra to that. I want to leave myself a few free slots for, like, if I pick up the first book in a series and I really love it and I want to continue straight on and read the next book in the series. I want to leave myself a few, like, free slots for those sorts of things. But I want to try to have a bit of a TBR going for the entire winter season. So we're going to jump into that. I am going to be doing this one a little bit differently to what I've done in the past because we're going to be going through so many more books. We're not going to be going into a lot of detail on what each book is. I'm not going to be reading you the blurbs for every book like I normally do. And I'm not actually going to be including anything from my laptop feed this morning. But I do have my laptop here on the side for looking for books. So yeah, let's get stuck in. I think that's about it. If you're new to booktube / TBR jarring, basically I just have a little bucket here which is full of a bunch of prompts. Things like has green on the colour, includes an LGBT plus main character, bunch of different things like that, and then you just pick a book that matches the prompt. So I'm going to pull out 8 of these today, which is a lot. It's much more than I've ever done. I think I normally do 4 of these at a time. Reginald is looking as I shake this and getting very excited. I think he thinks it's food. Whoop. I guess. A book with mountains on the cover. Ooh, okay. Let me have a look through what I have here physically, and then we'll have a look through my digital version if I don't have anything. But let's find out. None of my physical books have mountains on them, so we are going to check out my digital list, or at least I am because I'm not recording it today, so you don't get to see it. But I'm going to check out my digital list. Okay, this may be cheating a little bit because I don't think it's actually a mountain, but the closest thing I could find was the cute little hill that happens on the cover of The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. So I'm going to add The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches to my TBR, and then I'm going to stop saying that name because it's a very long name. Anyway, that is book number 1. Let's move on to number 2. Ooh, a book with a BIPOC protagonist. A book with a BIPOC protagonist. I hope I'm saying that right, otherwise I'm gonna get crucified. Okay, it is Black, Indigenous, and people of colour. So, I unfortunately think a lot of my physical books are boring white people. Okay, let's go to the list. You know what? I had blood debts on my list for last month, or this month technically, it's still the 28th of May. I had blood debts on my list for May. Definitely not going to get to it, so we're going to chuck blood debts back up on the list for this month. This is one I was going to try to borrow from the library, so I don't have a physical copy of it. But yeah, I'm going to add that onto my list. So far, not using much of my physical TBR, and this is why I have started opting for pick my own books. Mountains on the cover was hard. I think I'm going to take that prompt out if I remember. Alright. Read from an author you've never heard of. Ooh. Read from an author you've never heard of. That's such a hard thing, because if it's on my list, then I've heard of it. You know? Ugh. Otherwise, we're just going to go with one that I haven't read before. Alright, we're just going to change this prompt around very slightly. We're going to go with an author that I hadn't heard of before I heard of this book. So I do have a couple of options for that on my physical TBR. And I think what I'm going to add, I think I'm going to add Jade City to the TBR. This was on my TBR a few months ago and I didn't get to it, and that made me very sad. So I'm going to put this one on the TBR for this month, and I've just realized I don't actually have anywhere to put the books that are actually going on my physical TBR. My TBR shelf is full of all the books that I've read in the last 2 months. They're just going to go on the ground for now. Alright, this is going to be our 4th book. A book with flowers on the cover. That was a book with flowers on the cover. Let's have a look-see. I feel like I've got at least something with flowers on the cover here. Surely. Oh, you know what? Yeah. Easy. Easy pick. We're going to go with The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. This book I actually borrowed from a friend. She very highly recommended it. And I have already really wanted to read it for a long time, and she offered to lend it to me the other day, so now I have it. So we're going to put this one on the TBR. Definitely want to read this one in the wintertime in the next 3 months so I can get it back to her. So yeah, that one's going on the TBR. If it hadn't popped up in one of the prompts, it was going to be one of my free picks. Alright, on to prompt number 5. Reginald keeps getting excited whenever I shake the tin. Oh no. Read the longest book on your TBR. That's a rude prompt. I don't know why I put that in there. Alright, I'm going with only my physical TBR for this, and it's gonna be one of these two. Just from looking at them, I think I know which one it's gonna be. Jesus! It is well and truly going to be The Wise Man's Fear by Patrick Rothfuss. This book is 996, I think it was, pages long. It is just short of 1,000 pages. So I'm going to add this onto the list. I am really excited to read it. I have read it before. This is a 5-star read for me. I am currently reading The Name of the Wind, so we're going to chuck this one on the TBR. It was going to go on the TBR within the next 3 months regardless, so this works out pretty nicely, really. But it was a toss-up between this and the first book in the Mistborn series by Brandon Sanderson. But this one won out by quite a bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is going to be book number 6. Ooh. Start a new series. Okay. I have a couple of first books in series that are rereads on my list here. On my physical list, that is. Gotta make some tough decisions. You know what? We're gonna do it. I am gonna start. No, I'm not. That's a lie. Don't listen to me. It's a big book. Got a lot of big books on this list already. Yeah, we're gonna do this. Okay. Okay. I have decided I am going to go with a series that is going to be a reread, but I haven't read it since I was a small child in probably primary school, reading chapter books for probably the first time, and that is going to be Artemis Fowl. I bought the box set of this a couple of months ago, and I haven't got around to starting the series yet. My partner is still finishing off like the last couple of books in the series, but I don't think I will be catching up to him on this. So yeah, we're going to chuck that one on the TBR. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 more. I know I just counted them before I pulled out the 6th book, but I had to do another check because my brain forgot already. Ooh. Read from a genre you never pick up. Rude. Okay, that's gonna cut out everything on my physical TBR. No. Yeah, let's do this. We're gonna go with Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. This is, I believe, it is a literary fiction slash romance. Story of Sam and Sadie is not a romance, but it is about love. So, not a romance, but I think it's like a friendship sort of based book. And yeah, this is not really a genre I really pick up. I was going to go for romance when I first read that prompt, but I think I pick up literary fiction even less than I pick up romance. So we're going to add that one to the list. I've owned this one for a little while as well now. I've been wanting to read it. This is actually doing a pretty good job of picking the books that I really wanted to read. So thanks. Thanks, TBR Prompt Jar. This is going to be our very last Prompt Jar prompt. The Prompt Jar prompt is a very strange thing to say. And we have. Ooh. A book based on a true story. Sorry, if I look like I'm looking weirdly every time I read one of those, these are my shelves that I pull the books from. This is my physical TBR shelf. So just in case it seems weird. But, obviously not. I don't think any of these are based on true stories. Let me look through my list. Oh yeah. Sorry, I'm having to do some real research here. Okay, I think we're going to go with Hidden Figures by Margot Lee Shetterly. I have watched the movie a few times and I love the movie, so I think we're going to give the book a go. See how it goes. And that concludes the TBR Prompt Jar portion of this video. I am now going to pick between 4 and 8, probably 4 to 6. Just free picks. So give me a moment while I check through all my reading challenges and I check through all of my lists and figure out what it is that I want to put on my list. Okay, I have my additional, I think I got up to 6 books in the end of my free pick books for my winter TBR. So, let's start with the books that I have on my list digitally to be added. So, we are going to add both A Court of Frost of Starlight and A Court of Silver Flames, which will be finishing off the ACOTAR series as it currently stands. When I got the prompt to start a new series, I did very seriously consider starting the Throne of Glass series because I'm really looking forward to reading that one. I think it seems more my vibe than ACOTAR. Not that I don't enjoy ACOTAR, I really like ACOTAR. I think Throne of Glass will be more up my alley. But I figure I should finish ACOTAR before I start Throne of Glass, so instead we are going to finish off the ACOTAR series, hopefully, within the next 3 months. I know there's more books coming for it, but we're going to finish what's currently out for it now. For my Dimmicks reading challenge, I had to read a First Nations story. So I'm going to add Praiseworthy to my list, which I just discovered, and I think it seems really interesting. There's a lot of different things going on in the description for it, so I'm going to give that one a go. Sounds very interesting. I also had to read something that had a food in it, so I'm going to go with A Tempest of Tea, which is one that I have been hearing a lot about recently. I think mostly good things. I don't know that I've actually heard many people talk about having read it, just a lot of people talking about it coming out. And for the same Dimmicks reading challenge, I also had to read a book that was set in a bookshop, and so I'm going to go with Bookshops and Bone Dust, which is the prequel to Legends and Lattes. I have not read Legends and Lattes, but I did just do a quick Google search, and the Travis Baldry website says that they are basically standalone and can be read in any order. So I'm going to start with Bookshops and Bone Dust. And finally, the last book that I'm going to be adding onto my TBR, which I have here with me physically, is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. I got this exclusive edition with some lovely sprayed edges and shiny cover a while ago. And I have really wanted to read it, and it just has not come up on anything that lets me read it in any prompts. So we're going to add it on as my free pick for the season. I was about to say month. It's not for the month, it is for winter. So that will cover me for the next 3 months. Let's do a quick recap of everything that is on the list once I get it ready to go, because I did not add A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. So we have a total of 14 books on our TBR. Let me recap everything that we have here. So we have Jade City by Fonda Lee, which was a book from an author I hadn't heard of before. We have Artemis Fowl by Owen Colfer, which was starting a new series. We had The Wise Man's Fear by Patrick Rothfuss, which was the longest book on my TBR by a long shot. We have Blood Debts, which is by Terry J. Benton Walker, which was a book with a BIPOC protagonist. We have Hidden Figures by Margot Lee Shetterly, which was a book based on a true story. We then have 2 of my free picks, which are A Court of Frost and Starlight and A Court of Silver Flames. And then have The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana. I am probably butchering that name, my apologies. But we have that, which was my book with a mountain on the cover, which is not really a mountain, it's more of a hill, but we're going with it. We then have Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, which is a book from a genre that I never pick up. We have The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab, which was a book with flowers on the cover. We then have the rest of my free picks, which was Praiseworthy by Alexis Wright, A Tempest of Tea by Hafsa Faisal, another one that I'm probably saying very wrong, Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldry, and A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. It's a lot of books, but it is for 3 months, so it makes a lot of sense that it's a lot of books. But it feels like a lot of books. Anyway, that is going to be my TBR for winter. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry it was probably super long, and I don't know if it was interesting or not, but there you go. If you did enjoy the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will hopefully be back next week. I make no promises given my life at the moment, but hopefully within the next couple of weeks I'll be back, and then within the next month or so I will be back to my regularly scheduled programming of a video every Thursday is when I upload. It's been so long I don't even remember what day I upload. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Bye. I don't know how to say goodbye anymore. Bye.